As we speak, the Democratic Republic of Congo is engulfed in turmoil. Fighters from the infamous M23 rebel group have stormed across the nation's eastern provinces, clashing fiercely with government forces and seizing strategic locations along their path. At the heart of this complex conflict stands one enigmatic figure, Sultani Makenga, leader of M23. Makenga portrays his and M23's fight as one of survival, emphasizing that he and his group had no choice but to rise up in the face of existential threats. "We are fighting for our survival," Makenga insists. "We took up arms because we were threatened with extermination. We refused to let ourselves be wiped out without a fight." It's unfortunate that the outside world refuses to acknowledge this reality. So who exactly is General Sultani Makenga, the man behind the rebellion shaking the very foundations of the Congo? Sultani Emmanuel Makenga was born on December 25, 1973 into the Tutsi community of Masisi, although he spent most of his childhood in the northern Bwito region of Rutshuru, North Kivu province in eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. At just 17 years old, Makenga left school behind, crossing into Rwanda to join the Rwandan Patriotic Front, the RPF, a rebel movement demanding increased representation for Tutsis in Rwanda's predominantly Hutu-led government. The group also sought the repatriation of thousands of Tutsi refugees who had fled ethnic violence in the country. Throughout the early 1990s, Sultani Makenga fought alongside the RPF against Rwanda's Hutu-dominated forces, a struggle intertwined with the devastating 1994 genocide which resulted in the deaths of around 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. A fellow soldier recalled Sultani Makenga as being very good at setting up ambushes, highlighting his natural military instincts. Following the RPF's victory, Makenga integrated into Rwanda's National Army, quickly rising to the rank of sergeant and deputy platoon commander, a remarkable achievement for a Congolese recruit in the Rwandan army. Unfortunately, his limited formal education and challenges with language ultimately constrained his military progression. Known for his reserved nature and unwillingness to do public speaking, Makenga remained an enigmatic figure. In 1997, Makenga joined Rwandan-backed forces aiming to overthrow Congo's longtime ruler Mobutu Sese Seko. After Mobutu's fall, Laurent Désiré Kabila took power, initially supported by Rwanda. On this story and his exploits in helping overthrow Mobutu, Sultani Makenga explained, "After the Rwandan war, I went to Burundi where I met Laurent Kabila, the Mzee. We agreed to fight together after he got strong recommendations from my seniors in the Rwandan army. I fought alongside the Nguruma battalion, which was managed by the Rwandan army under James Kabarebe." Now, for Sultani Makenga, tensions soon arose. He was briefly imprisoned in 1997 for resisting orders to return to Rwanda and again in 2004 for opposing Rwandan influence in Congolese rebellions. When relations deteriorated between Rwanda and Laurent Kabila, Sultani Makenga became a frontline commander for the Rwanda-backed rebels during the Second Congo War, notably with the elite Nguruma battalion, once again under the command of James Kabarebe. During this time, Sultani Makenga's reputation grew as a strategic and highly skilled commander. Just after Rwanda's invasion of Congo, widespread discrimination against Tutsis in the Congo erupted, prompting Sultani Makenga to accuse Laurent Kabila of betrayal. Reflecting on this period, Makenga stated, and I quote, "When the war ended in Rwanda, I decided to fight for my country, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Mzee Laurent Kabila and I shared the same goal, to liberate Congo from the brutal, corrupt leadership of Mobutu, which had almost destroyed the country. At that time, all of us Congolese fought for the same goal. But when we won the war, we were branded as the Banyamulenge, a group of Tutsi that is disobedient. We were called foreigners in our own land by the same man we had supported and then told to return to Rwanda where we belonged. This was very painful. I was born in Congo, grew up in Congo, then went to Uganda to join the army in order to fight against the then Rwandese regime that wanted to exterminate all Tutsis, hoping that one day we could also initiate a similar struggle to liberate our country, the Congo, from the brutal leadership of Mobutu. You help someone to become president through the gun, but when he tastes power, you become his first victim. Mzee Laurent Kabila was a politician, while I am not. I am a soldier, and the language that I know is that of the gun. My home has been in the bush, fighting injustice and corrupt regimes in this region. Therefore, when a politician wants to play politics with me, my response won't be the political podium, but the barrel of the gun, because that's my way of fighting for my rights. I believe that I'm fighting for the right reason, to bring peace, unity, good governance, and all Congolese who have been refugees for years, including my parents, back to their country. When Kabila was assassinated by his bodyguard, his son took over, but unfortunately, he also developed the same mentality of seeing us as foreigners and troublemakers from Rwanda, forgetting that he himself comes from Tanzania, and there are many Congolese who doubt his citizenship. By 2005, Sultani Makenga had risen to the rank of major and commanded a battalion within the rebel Congolese Rally for Democracy, the RCD. Stationed in Rutshuru, he quickly aligned himself with General Laurent Nkunda, who was gathering support for his newly formed National Congress for the Defense of the People, the CNDP. Makenga swiftly climbed the ranks in this organization, becoming one of Laurent Nkunda's most trusted commanders. During this period, in a move aimed at reconciliation, Sultani Makenga and other Tutsi rebels were integrated into the Congolese government's military through a process known as mixage. In 2007, Makenga led the Bravo Brigade, responsible for securing supply routes to Rwanda through the village of Runyoni near the Rwandan border. His brigade responded harshly to an assassination attempt against him, leading to severe criticism and a United Nations investigation which suggested that Sultani Makenga bore command responsibility for a massacre carried out by troops under his command. When the mixage process eventually collapsed, Makenga became CNDP commander for the strategic Rutshuru area, controlling the Bunagana border crossing and access to Rwanda through the Virunga National Park. Following the 2008 Goma Peace Conference, which involved multiple armed factions and the Congolese government, Sultani Makenga was promoted to Deputy Chief of Staff within the CNDP. During this period, General Laurent Nkunda even relocated his headquarters next to Makenga's base, underscoring Makenga's significance within the movement. Unfortunately, tensions heightened when Laurent Nkunda was arrested by Rwandan authorities in January 2009 as part of a secret agreement between Congo and Rwanda. Sultani Makenga briefly considered rebellion but ultimately signed an agreement to end hostilities alongside other CNDP officers. Subsequently integrated into the Congolese army, Makenga led operations against the notorious Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, the FDLR, and was later deployed to South Kivu as Deputy Commander of Operations. Still, within the former CNDP ranks, Sultani Makenga was known as an unwavering Laurent Nkunda loyalist. The arrest of Laurent Nkunda and the appointment of the notorious General Bosco Ntaganda as his replacement split the CNDP into rival factions. Ntaganda, who was indicted by the International Criminal Court in 2006, had also been trained in the Rwandan army but spent much of his military career in Ituri district. In May 2012, Sultani Makenga would defect from the Congolese army to join and become one of the leaders of the M23 rebellion. He was elevated to the rank of general and soon commanded international attention by leading a bold uprising, capturing Goma in November 2012. This event sparked global outrage, prompting the United Nations Security Council to unanimously condemn M23 and demand an immediate withdrawal. Sultani Makenga, alongside others, faced sanctions from the United Nations as well as the United States government, which accused him of severe human rights violations, including violence against civilians and the recruitment of child soldiers. Despite these international sanctions and travel bans, Sultani Makenga maintained that the M23 was dedicated to addressing deep-seated issues plaguing the Congo, positioning his rebellion as a force for positive change. Now, alongside asset freezes and international sanctions, General Sultani Makenga was also grappling with a bitter internal division within the M23 rebel group. His leadership was challenged by Bosco Ntaganda, causing the movement to split into two hostile factions. According to the Enough Project, a non-profit organization active in the Congo, this rivalry erupted into an intense internal battle in 2013, tragically resulting in the deaths of 3 soldiers and 8 civilians. Sultani Makenga ultimately emerged victorious, compelling General Bosco Ntaganda to flee to Rwanda, where he surrendered at the United States Embassy. Ntaganda was later convicted by the International Criminal Court and sentenced to 30 years in prison for war crimes. Makenga's triumph over Bosco Ntaganda was short-lived. Within months, the United Nations deployed a robust 3,000-strong intervention force tasked with supporting Congolese military efforts to retake the strategic city of Goma. Facing overwhelming international and military pressure, the M23 withdrew and was driven out of the country. After this, General Makenga sought refuge in Uganda, a country accused by some of covertly supporting the M23, though Ugandan authorities denied this allegation. For 8 years, while numerous armed factions continued to devastate the mineral-rich eastern regions of Congo, Sultani Makenga remained out of sight. Then, unexpectedly, in 2021, Makenga and the M23 resurfaced, reigniting conflict by capturing significant territory in North Kivu province, plunging the region back into turmoil. Eventually, M23 managed to take control of Goma.